I think a lot of people that aren't that interested in cars don't really get the whole idea of cars being so collectible and why people obsess over certain cars and certain models. And I mean obsession, because that's really what it is. I wouldn't be making 3 videos a week if I wasn't obsessed over certain cars. And quite often when I hear people think that or ask the question or have that mindset, in my opinion it comes down to either not showing enough interest, which isn't their fault, it's just something that doesn't interest them, or not knowing enough. Because if you're aware of certain things in certain cars, quite often there's a lot more to it than just the metal and its rubber shoes. Because with particular models, they are so rare and therefore valuable that of course there is a demand. It's that simple. It's just the very nature of the car, how limited it is. Quite often that's down to its price tag. But how limited it is certainly drives the demand because it is limited. And especially when some cars are designed to look as appealing as possible, then of course there's going to be people chasing that. The minute you put a cap on it, yeah, it makes sense. I'm not really one for this whole Pokemon card trade thing, but people are. And I can understand the reasons as to why. It just hasn't hooked me. Just like cars doesn't hook other people. It's just not their interest. But to not understand why people obsess over them or why they are collectible is ignorance in another factor. Even political aspects or innovative aspects of a car, when it was released at the time, what it meant to people, what sort of innovation was brought in as part of the car or part of the research of the car. These are all things that can make something so interesting and something desirable. That's why you have collectors like Chris Evans that collect just Ferraris, which is purely down to a particular manufacturer. And then you have other people that collect literally the most iconic things in rally cars, or collect rally cars for a start, or collect Ford just because of how it is. It's all different and it's all people's own distinctions and what they value is very important. And this is why it's a hobby for people. And I personally believe that this reason is why cars are more than, like I said before, the metal that they're made from and the rubber tyres. There is something about them, and I think this is why petrol heads have this obsession with them. There is something more, that there are so many other emotional, spiritual factors that go into certain cars development and certain desirable cars development that make them the icon that they are. It's not just about getting from A to B. It is about everything else in consideration for that. And that's what you don't get with some modern cars that are being driven around. That's what you don't get with a Nissan Qashqai or an Audi Q2. These aren't cars that do that. These aren't cars that have other things tied to them which don't make them appealing. And this is why we have programs like Top Gear. This is why we have petrol heads. Because there are people obsessed with this world where there are other factors than just how it's made and who it's made for. And by stripping out a combustion engine out of that car, I still feel that takes away a lot of the element of it. Because there is so much expression in creating a unique engine that can be controlled by the driver that isn't the same with everybody else. That kind of aspect isn't in an electric battery that's just added to the bottom of a car to make the wheels go. It's not the same, and I think it does take away from that as well. But at the end of the day, I drive a white Fiesta with a 1.2 litre engine, so it doesn't make me an expert. Do your own research, make up your own mind.